The Rice Owls with a 1-0 lead as we head to the 6th inning now. And, well, here's a book that you might want to pick up. It's Brian Cain's So What? Next Pitch, one of 3 books that he has written to this point. Brian Cain joins us now and is the peak performance consultant for the Houston Cougars and some other teams as well. First of all, welcome. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you, Bruce. Glad to be here today. And so far, we got an outstanding battle here.
And certainly in a game such as this, that mental aspect is huge, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. I mean, when you get 2 heavyweights like Rice and Houston going, toe-to-toe, it's going to be just a couple pitches that make the difference in the game. And, the team that plays 1 pitch at a time and wins more pitches is probably going to be the team that comes out on top here in the last 4 innings.
Yeah, all part of So What? Next Pitch. And the next pitch for Austin Pruitt was high and outside.
Brian, we talked earlier about Austin Pruitt, just the composure that he has, the mound, his presence. Explain kind of the process that Austin goes through as a pitcher.
Sure. If you see, before he throws the pitch, if you watch his shoulders, you're going to see him take a good deep breath and really see his shoulders sink. We'll see if he does it here, right there. And what that does is that helps him to slow the game down and stay in control of himself.
In the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes now.
And what Coach Whitting has been just tremendous at is developing that ability in his players and that awareness to really slow the game down and play at your pace, 1 pitch at a time.
That's so important. That's a great point, Brian. And you see, as we've talked about with Austin, he's not an overpowering guy, so he really has to stay in command and control. And he's done a great job today.
Appling chases that down for the first out of the inning, and we go to the top of the order, and Leon Byrd with 1 out here in the 6th for the Rice Owls. And there's no question, I think one of your tenets certainly, Brian, is live in the moment, stay in the moment, right?
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to the 3 P's of peak performance: to live in the present, to focus on the process, and stay positive. And that deep breath that you see Austin and the hitters taking when they come to the plate really helps them to stay in that present.
Leon Byrd takes a strike.
Yeah, we'll talk more about the hitters when U of H gets to bat here, but it really is that importance of that process of even in between every pitch to have a process.
Absolutely. To be consistent over time, and success in baseball really is about consistency, because the best team never wins. It's the team who plays the best, and playing your best is a consistency factor, and it's that routine that really sets the stage for consistency.
This is going to be another fly ball to center field for Appling. These are the first 2 outfield outs of the game for the Houston defense. And Brian taking a look at some of those very important aspects. Go through a couple of those.
Yeah, to live in the present in baseball is to play 1 pitch at a time. To focus on the process is, controlling what you can control. Can't control umpires' calls, can't control the play of your teammates. And, baseball being that individual sport played as a team, trusting your routine to be more consistent, staying positive, getting to the next pitch, and giving yourself that best chance for success. Talking
with Brian Cain, the peak performance consultant for the University of Houston Cougars, and talking about some of the things that mental aspect. And this is Christian Stringer here.
Well, Brian, we talk about the physical tools that baseball players have all the time, but this game really is so much mental, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And, when you talk about just the grind of a major league season, well, the grind is pretty consistent in college, too. Just the length of the season, the amount of games that they play, and, just with the academics and everything going on, it really can be a grind. But the acronym we use for grind is, hey, get ready, it's a new day. And you really break your season down into 1 day and break your game down into 1 pitch.
Now, are you seeing more of this in college baseball? More guys like yourself, performance coaches, that are being asked to come into these programs?
I've seen a trend really starting to happen. It's kind of like where strength and conditioning was probably, Pat, maybe 20 years ago, where certain teams were doing it and others were kind of dabbling in it, and now you couldn't imagine being a college athlete without strength and conditioning. And I really believe that sports psychology and the mental conditioning aspect is getting that same momentum, and you're going to see that start to happen just consistently across college baseball in the future.
That one very close, but ball 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Christian Stringer. And I know that you respect Coach Whitting for the fact that he changed his philosophy about what's important. There are 2 or 3 things important in a program, and he changed that mental aspect to be one of the top things, right?
Yeah, he sure did.
1-0 for the Rice Owls over the Houston Cougars in this battle for the Silver Glove Series. And we go into the Houston locker room as again we're joined by Brian Cain, the peak performance consultant for UH, and about the mental aspect of the game. A lot of it's visual, isn't it?
It sure is, and Coach Whitting, again, being a master of the mental game, has got TVs strategically placed throughout his locker room and clubhouse that will switch what we call signs of success. And today's sign was win. And most people are going to think that means the outcome, but it's really not. It's the opposite. And it means focus on what's important now, which is one pitch at a time, which are, you know, the signs that players see when they walk up the steps to get in the dugout. So Todd's really advertising to the team the mentality that he wants them to have and compete with today.
And his pitcher, Austin Pruitt, has done it today, hasn't he?
He sure has. You know, he's been battling one pitch at a time here with Kubica, and it's just been an absolute battle.
Here's Barker to lead it off for Houston.
Brian, you talk about this process and how important it is even for the hitters, and walk us through now what you've taught the Houston hitters to do.
Yeah, well, if you see, you know, Caleb Barker right now in the, after each pitch, you'll see him look at a focal point on his bat and take a deep breath. And very similar to what, you know, Pruitt is doing on the mound, this helps him to quiet his mind, to slow the game down, and to get in the present moment. So as we look right here, he takes a breath on the plate, then looks at his bat. And as a coach, I can see, you know, is he consistent in his approach and getting in the box?
That one hit high in the air, shallow center, and coming on is Bird. Bird calls everybody off and makes the catch. One down here in the 6th inning. Here's Justin Montemayor coming to the plate. So take us through his approach here as he comes to the plate, because it is special, isn't it?
Absolutely. If you see him grab the barrel of the bat with his dominant hand, his right hand, where he wants to make contact, he walks big with body language, walking to home plate, cleans out the batter's box to take possession of the batter's box, because it doesn't matter if he's 0 for 10 or 10 for 10, or if the guy before him hit a home run or strike out. It's about his box right now, and then you see the breath. And, you know, practicing that whole routine and practicing walking up to home plate, just like your UFC fighters, you know, Melendez and Henderson are going to do tonight, walking to the octagon, that big body language. Same thing we do walking to home plate.
And so is that more for the performer, for the player, or is it also body language to send a signal to the opposition?
You know, I think the body language of sending the single to the opposition is definitely secondary. There probably is some of that, but at the highest level, I'm not sure how much of that plays into it, to the role. I think it's more, you know, the #1 priority is that the athlete walking to home plate has that big body language, that confidence, a little bit of swagger, and takes possession of the box walking up there.
This bouncer to first base is a relatively easy play for Blake Fox. Fox at the bag for the out, 2 outs, and well, tonight, speaking of UFC returns to Fox as lightweight champion Benson Henderson puts his title on the line against top contender Gilbert Melendez, highlighting a full night of epic fights. Henderson versus Melendez for the lightweight title. Fox UFC Saturday is live and free tonight, beginning at 8 Eastern.
You know, what a battle that's going to be. Having spent a lot of time in corners of guys in the Ultimate Fighting Championship and being in those events, you know, you think baseball is a mental game. MMA is a tremendous mental game. Imagine going through spring training, 8 weeks for one fight. I mean, they got to go through a brutal camp for 8 weeks for one fight. And I've seen a lot of guys lose it in the locker room before they go out there because they just don't train mentally to handle that pressure and anxiety that happens before a fight.
Brian, we've talked so much about the mental part of baseball, and for years guys have known that really is a separator between the guys who play at this level to the next level and on. So, you know, talk about what that means in terms of the separation that you see with certain players.
Well, you know, you see a lot of guys have physical talent, and when I had a chance to work with the Washington Nationals as their mental conditioning coach, you know, there's a tremendous amount of guys in the minor leagues that had more talent than the guys in the big leagues. I mean, you've been there, Pat, you know how it is. But it's the guys who play consistently, the guys who can handle the adversity and the failure of baseball, they can get back into that present and go pitch to pitch, that'll give themselves the best chance to get there.
Well, the guy that's having a whole lot of success in this game is Austin Kubica. He just registered his 9th strikeout. Brian Cain, thank you for taking the time. Appreciate it, and continued good luck.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Pat. It was a pleasure, and let's go Cougs.
There you go. Rice with a 1-0 lead at the end of 6.